Hello everyone, back to today's second video. We're going to have a look at well, the next month in today's second video. It's JMA Friday, so as always on a Friday we're doing our 30-day month ahead look ahead. This takes us into the middle of August. So, of course, had a very hot and dry summer so far. Some places have had no measurable rainfall whatsoever this summer from the 1st of June. So it has been exceptionally dry and also very warm. And we may get some thunderstorms breaking out this afternoon. There's more persistent rain in the northwestern part of the country. But it's not a definitive breakdown. Actually, next week it looks so temperatures will be getting even hotter. So I'll talk you through that in today's today's third video update. But for today's second video update, we're doing a 30-day look ahead, so we'll see whether there's any signs of a general breakdown in the month ahead, take us into the middle of August from this hot and dry pattern that we've been in since the start of the summer. So I'll get on that for you right now. Begin by having a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies from the JMA model. We're looking at the North Pole view down. First of all, these break down into weekly periods, by the way. So the first weekly period takes us from today, the 20th, through to the 27th of August. That's the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just there. Big latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. But that extrapolates to low pressure essentially, and yellow, orange and red to high pressure. So we find that for the week ahead, this again taking us from the 20th through 27th of July. Above average heights extending into the UK from the main ridge, which is sitting up to the northeast. Below average heights in the Atlantic with the jet stream. The jet stream is doing something rather like that. So it looks like we continue to have lots of high pressure influences in the week ahead, and this looks pretty hot as well. We will be drawing up the air from a southerly to southeasterly direction, so plenty of dry weather and quite hot too in the week ahead. No real change. We go through to week 2, which takes us from the 27th of July through to the 3rd of August, still with that big ridge of above average heights to our east and northeast. There is a little bit of a change going on though. Below average heights are developing out to the west of the UK, or out to west of Ireland. The flow and the jet is doing something rather like that. So it's still hot, most definitely. We're bringing winds up from a southerly southeast direction. But the difference is that with below average heights sitting just to our west-southwest, is much more unstable. So not only is this hot, it also implies a risk of perhaps some quite severe thunderstorms and torrential rain moving in from the south and from the west too. That looks like a classic sort of hot, thundery type weather pattern that's setting up there for the very end of July and into the start of August. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4. This takes us from the 3rd through to the 17th of August. And with this one, we still have the above average heights actually to our east and northeast. Below average heights are sorted to the west and to the southwest. And then we've got a ridge over here in the western part of the Atlantic Ocean. So the flow and the jet again is doing something like that. So still bringing the air up from the south-southeast. It would still be very warm or hot and humid, but again we've got this instability out to west of the southwest, so that does imply that we might have a threat of thunderstorms. So essentially it looks like this summer is shifting a little bit with its weather pattern from very dry and very warm and hot to very warm and hot still, but with a growing threat of heavy rain and thunderstorms, so becoming more lively, if you like, going into August. I think that's a message that's coming through from the JMA. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view in terms of temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those 500 millibar heights. So the British Isles is just here in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you are looking that the 500 millibar height anomaly has this ridge extending through the UK. You can't see the northern latitudes, but we know we've got a ridge up over Scandinavia up there. That's kind of like the centre of the ridge, which then throws down a ridge into the UK. So lots of high pressure influences for the week ahead. You expect this to be a very warm or hot week. That is what the JMA is showing. Temperature anomalies are coming out well above average, sort of 2 to 3 degrees on the scale above average. So another really warm to hot week in the week ahead in this long hot summer of 2018. The precipitation anomaly is also drier than average, so hot and dry in the week ahead. There will be the risk of these hit and miss thunderstorms, but a lot of dry weather showing up there on the week 1 temperature and precipitation anomalies. That's week 2, it's 27th of July to the 3rd of August. With still the above average heights to the east and northeast. As we come over here, you can see those the ridge extending in from the northeast, covering much of northern Europe. But we do have this area of below average heights in the Atlantic, just to the west of Ireland. And so the flow and the jet, it's southerly, so it's still hot, but we may be bringing in more instability there. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. It's still coming out substantially warmer than average as we end July and go into August. Temperature anomaly is between 1 and 3 degrees above average close to the UK. Notice a very warm to hot scene across many parts of Europe as well. So really hot scene across much of Europe for the end of July and the start of August. But this is the change. We've got the precipitation anomalies going above average here for the UK and for Ireland too. So it does show that it could be much more unstable, certainly compared to what we've had through most of this summer. Much more volatile weather coming up there at the end of July into the start of August, and you would not be ruling out the chance of some really quite severe thunderstorms with the temperatures holding up such as they are. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, takes us from the 3rd through to the 17th of August, with the below average heights down to the southwest. Above average heights are over here. Probably shifting a little bit more towards the eastern part of Europe. So if any of this is maybe turning a bit more unsettled, it might be implying that I thought we're probably southerly with the flow and the jet when we looked at the North Pole view, but actually looking at that, we may well be turning things a little bit more southwesterly, if anything. So that would still be quite warm, but it would be cooler, actually, I think, compared to earlier in the period. A little bit more of an Atlantic influence to the air mass there, as this ridge gets moved more towards the eastern part of Europe. It's a little bit more clear compared to the North Pole view, that the centre of the ridge is actually going over quite a long way to our east through this period. Now remember, this is transitional, so it might still be very hot in week 3, then it might turn cooler with the Atlantic finally breaking through in week 4. But looking at that view, it does look as though we possibly have a little bit more of an influence from the Atlantic there, actually, as we're going into that week 3-4 period. Now, the temperature anomalies are still coming out warmer to hotter than average, so no real change with the temperature anomaly, and that could be because it is a 2-weekly anomaly, so it might still be basically southerly to southeasterly and very thundery in week 3, and then week 4 might be the one that sees the Atlantic flow breaking through, something a little bit like that, and that would be when it begins to cool down. What about the precipitation anomaly? So that's still coming out above average as well for the UK and for Ireland. So August is looking much more unsettled compared to what we've had through June and July. Still very warm to hot, but possibly particularly by the middle of August, maybe just turning a little bit cooler as we start to pick up a bit more of an Atlantic flow perhaps. That's the JMA, this is CFS V2. We'll see whether the two models are in agreement. So again, 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period takes us from the 20th through to 26th of July. The centre of the ridge is to the northeast, but it does, centre of high pressure to the northeast, but it does build this ridge down into the UK, which actually connects to the Azores high as well. The flow and the jet is up there, so we're on the hot side of the jet. Basically, it's very much what the JMA is showing. High pressure dominates, very warm to hot, heat wave conditions, and fairly dry as well outside of hit and miss thunderstorms. Week 2 looks like that. It is a bit different compared to what the JMA is showing. This is the 27th of July to the 2nd of August. Broadly, they are the same. We've got the above average heights centred over Scandinavia. We've got below average heights in the Atlantic. But I think it's a little bit weaker with that area of below average heights in the Atlantic. So instead of kind of like pulling up very unstable southerly winds like the JMA is showing, probably having volatile sort of thundery weather, I think this is fairly dry still, actually, with the wind mainly from an easterly type direction. Any breakdown is out in the Atlantic, possibly threatening a few heavy showers and thunderstorms to the west, but I don't think that looks quite as unsettled for week 2 compared to what the JMA is showing. That's week 3, and the heat wave goes on. Really, the above average heights are still there over Scandinavia. Below average heights continue to be in the Atlantic. Still looks basically easterly or southeasterly, with probably very little rain. Any storms probably confined mainly to the west and southwest. A lot of dry weather continuing there through the 3rd through to the 9th of August, and hot as well. And then week 4 looking like this. This is the 10th through to the 16th of August. The above average heights centred over Germany this week. We are raising heights around Greenland. We're starting to get some northern blocking going there. Below average heights are coming closer to the UK, also to the North Scandinavia. It's quite a messy picture, really, but it does look as though we are getting a bit of a trough within the 500 millibar flow, so possibly doing something a bit like that with flow and jet stream. That could be kind of like a breakdown type week. It is week 4, so it's a long way off, but it might be a bit of a breakdown going on there. So hot and dry initially, then maybe thundery, and possibly a little bit more Atlantic influenced by the end of the week. Something like that going up to the middle part of August. So, temperature anomalies of CFS V2 for week ahead. They're coming out significantly hotter than average for the UK and for Ireland too, from the 20th to 26th of July. If anything, week 2 is even hotter. This is the 27th of July to the 2nd of August. This is really roasting, way above average. Probably going up close to around 2.5 degrees above average. So very hot conditions at the end of July into the start of August. Real heat wave. Most of Europe being covered by very substantially hotter than average conditions. Notice much of North America, though, does look quite cool, or certainly northeastern parts of America. Week 3, it just goes on, this heat wave, so the 3rd to the 9th of August continues to be significantly hotter than average once again, and then by the time you get through to week 4, it's still coming out hotter than average, but possibly just a little bit less hot from the 10th to the 16th of August, but even so, still coming out warmer than average. How do things look from a rainfall perspective? So the coming week is substantially drier than average, much drier than average in the week from the 20th to 26th of July. This one does look a little bit closer to average from the 27th of July through to 2nd of August, nearer normal, and you'll notice to our south, around Biscay, it's actually a bit wetter than average, so thunderstorms could be threatening from the south and the southwest in that week. But from a height anomaly perspective, it looks like high pressure is still quite dominant. Then go through to week 3. This is the 3rd through to the 9th of August. That's coming out close to average with precipitation too. And then by the time we get through to week 4, 10th to the 16th of August, well, this one does hint at going a little bit wetter than average, especially for the far northwestern part of the country. So again, both the models possibly hinting at some sort of breakdown going on there around the middle part of August. But before we get to that, we've got a lot of hot weather to come. So the heat wave is going to intensify in the next couple of weeks. I think both models are in agreement about that. Probably very gradually getting more volatile, though, with this heat. Gradually seeing an increasing risk of thunderstorms sometime through the early part of August. And then by the middle of August, just a few hints, no more than that, it's a long way off, but just a few hints that by the middle of August, things are possibly starting to cool down a bit and turn a little bit more unsettled, perhaps, as the Atlantic begins to break through and return us to a fresher Atlantic type flow. But of course, that's a long way off. That's a month away. So in a more reasonable time frame, which is kind of like next couple of weeks, the heat wave goes on. And we'll have more on that in today's third video update, which will be coming up this afternoon. So come back for that. Going to turn really quite hot, I think, next week. So have more on that for today's third video update. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.